Hello, and welcome to another Read With Me session. I'm yours truly, Isabel Bedell, and I'm here to not only read with you, but also ignite the magnet within. That's right. Today's chapter, we're going to be going over the law of magnetism. Magnetism. Okay. So, John Maxwell, the GOAT, officially wrote this amazing book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And we're on law number 9, the law of magnetism. In the previous chapter, we went over the law of intuition. And I want to share with you something that I actually shared on my LinkedIn account earlier. You got to train yourself to think in terms of mobilizing people and harnessing resources. Think about current projects or your goals and imagine how you can accomplish them without doing any of the work yourself, except for recruiting, empowering, and motivating others. And he's like, keep this in your back pocket, okay? Ask yourself these questions constantly. Who is the best person to take this on? What resources do we possess that can help us? What will this take financially? And how can I encourage my team to achieve success? Now, that's gold. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur, if you got other people working in your organization or even yourself, like if you're not asking yourself these questions, you become the bottleneck in your business extremely quick. So thank you, John Maxwell, for bringing this into light. And I hope that you are leveraging this at your fullest ability, because it's very, very important. Now, when it comes to the law of magnetism, y'all, this is who you are, is who you attract. And I'm really, really proud of this one because, have you ever heard of the situations when like people are like, oh, I can't attract my soulmate, I can't, find the person of my dreams, I think I'm going to be single forever, or everybody, all the guys are this or all the girls are that, or whatever, right? I feel like when you're in a position to attract a soulmate, when you're in a position to attract someone that's going to be your complement, right? I feel like the law of magnetism just like reaches a whole new height because it shows up in the way that your love, your lust, your that power when love connects with what you want. So I feel the way that he actually incorporates love and attracting what you want and who you want to become and all that stuff, he really lays it out super, super well in this chapter. So make sure to grab a cup of water, cup of tea, whatever it is that you want to, enjoy while I read to you. This one's going to be an amazing chapter. Okay, let's go. The law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. Effective leaders are always on the lookout for good people. Always. I think each of us carries around a mental list of what kind of people we would like to have in our organization or department. And think about it. Do you know who you're looking for right now? What is the profile of the perfect employee? What qualities? What do they possess? Would you want them to be aggressive and entrepreneurial? Are you looking for leaders? Do you care whether they are in their 20s, 40s, 60s? Stop right now and take a moment and make a list of all the qualities that you like in the people on your team. Find a pencil or a pen and do it now before you read any further. And then he has a little section here where you can actually write what it is that you want. My people would have these qualities and start listing them out. Okay. Now, what will determine whether the people you want are the people you get and whether they will possess the qualities you desire? Well, you may be surprised by the answer. Believe it or not, who you attract is not determined by what you want. It's determined by who you are. Go back to the list you just made, and for each characteristic you identified, decide whether you possess that quality. For example, if you wrote that you were like great leaders and you are an excellent leader, that's a match. Put a check by it. But if your leadership is no better than average, put an X and write only average leader next to it. If you wrote that you want people who are entrepreneurial and you possess that quality, put a check. Otherwise, mark it as an X and so on. Now review the whole list. If you see a whole bunch of X's, then you're in trouble because the people that you describe are not the type of people who want to follow you. In most situations, unless you take strong measures to counteract it, you draw people to you who possess the same qualities that you do. And that's the law of magnetism. Who you are is who you attract. From musician to leadership. When I was a kid, my mother used to tell me that birds of a feather flock together. And I thought that was a wise saying when I was spending time with my older brother, Larry, playing ball. He was a good athlete, so I figured that made me one too. And as I grew up, I think I instinctively recognized that good students spent time with good students and people who only wanted to play stuck together and so on. But I don't think I really understood the impact of the law of magnetism until I moved to San Diego, California, and became the leader of the last church I pastored. My predecessor at Skyline Church was Dr. Oval Butcher. He is a wonderful man and with admirable qualities. And one of his best is his musicianship. He plays piano and has a beautiful Irish tenor voice. And even today, in his 80s, at the time I arrived in 1981, Skyline had a solid reputation for fine music and was nationally known for its outstanding musical productions. In fact, the church was filled with talented musicians and vocalists. And in the 27 years Dr. Butcher led the church, only 2 music directors worked for him, an unbelievable track record. In comparison, during my 14 years there, I employed 5 people in that capacity. Why were there so many exceptional musicians at Skyline? Well, the answer is it lies in the law of magnetism. People with musical talent were naturally attracted to Dr. Butcher. They respected him and understood him. They shared his motivation and values. They were on the same page with him. Leaders help to shape the culture of their organizations based on who they are and what they do. Music was valued. It was practiced and performed with excellence. It was used to reach out to the community, and it was deeply ingrained in the culture of the organization. In contrast, I enjoy music, but I'm not a musician. It's funny. But when I interviewed for the position at Skyline, one of the first questions they asked me was whether I could sing. They were disappointed. They were very disappointed when I told them no. And after I came on board at the church, the number of new musicians arriving at the church declined quickly. We still had more than our share because Dr. Butcher had created momentum and a wonderful legacy in that area. But do you know what kind of people started coming instead? Leaders. I value leadership, modeled it, trained it, people in it, and rewarded it. Leadership was woven into the fabric of the organization. And by the time I left Skyline, not only was the church filled with hundreds of excellent leaders, but the church had raised up and sent out hundreds of leaders. The reason was the law of magnetism. Our organization became a magnet for people with leadership ability. Where do they match up? Maybe you've started thinking about the people that you have attracted in your organization, and you might say to yourself, wait a minute, I can name 20 things that my people did, that my that make my people different from me? And my response would be, of course you can. We're all individuals, but the people who are drawn to you probably have more similarities than differences, especially a few key areas. Take a look at the following characteristics. If you have recruited and hired a staff, you will probably find that you and the other people who follow you share common ground in several of the key areas. One, generation. Most organizations reflect the characteristics of their key leaders, and that includes their age. During the dot-com boom of the 1990s, thousands of companies were founded by people in their 20s and early 30s. And who did they hire? Others in their 20s and 30s. And in just about any type of organization, most of the time, the people who came on board are similar in age to the leaders who hire them. And often that occurs within departments. Sometimes it occurs company-wide. Then comes attitude. Rarely have I seen positive and negative people attracted to one another. People who view life as a series of opportunities and exciting challenges don't want to hear others talk about how bad things are all the time. I know that's true for me. And not only do people attract others with similar attitudes, but their attitudes tend to become alike. Attitude is one of the most contagious qualities a human being possesses. Attitude is one of the most contagious qualities a human being possesses. People with good attitudes tend to make people around them feel more positive. And those with a terrible attitude tend to bring others down. Background. In the chapter of the law of process, I wrote about Theodore Roosevelt. One of his memorable accomplishments and his daring charge of San Juan Hill with the Rough Riders during Spanish-American War. Roosevelt personally recruited that all-volunteer cavalry company, and it was said to be a remarkably peculiar group of people. It was comprised primarily of two types of men, wealthy aristocrats from the Northeast and cowboys from the Wild West. Why? Well, because TR was an aristocrat born, Harvard-educated New Yorker who turned himself into a real-life cowboy and big game hunter in the Dakotas of the West. He was a strong and genuine leader in both worlds, and as a result, he attracted both kinds of people. People attract and are attracted to others of similar background. Blue-collar workers tend to stick together. Employers tend to hire people of the same race. People with education tend to respect and value others who are also well-educated. And this natural magnetism is so strong that organizations that value diversity have to fight against it. Ooh, here we go. In the NFL, for example, the team owners are white. And for decades, all the head coaches were white. Because members of the league valued racial diversity, they put in place a diversity policy requiring teams to include at least one minority candidate in the interview process when hiring head coaches. That policy has helped more highly qualified African-American head coaches to be hired. But other than in that area of race, the background of all coaches remains strikingly similar. Values. This is a big one. People are attracted to leaders whose values are similar to their own. Think about the people who flocked to President John F. Kennedy after he was elected in 1960. He was a young idealist who wanted to change the world, and he attracted people with similar profile. When he formed the Peace Corps and called people to service, saying, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country," thousands of young idealistic people stepped forward to answer the challenge. It doesn't matter whether the shared values are positive or negative. Either way, the attraction is equally strong. And think about someone like Adolf Hitler. He was a very strong leader. And as you can judge by his level of influence, of course, his values were rotten to the core. What kinds of people did he attract? Well, leaders with similar values. Hermann Göring founder of the Gestapo, Joseph Goebbels, a bitter anti-Semite who ran Hitler's propaganda machine, Raiden Heydrich, second in command of the Nazi secret police, who ordered mass executions of Nazi opponents, and Heinrich Himmler, chief of the SS and director of the Gestapo, who initiated the systematic execution of Jews. They were all strong leaders, and they were all utterly evil men. The law of magnetism is powerful. Whatever character you possess is what you will likely find in the people who follow you. Yeah, it works both ways. It works both ways for sure. I like that he included Hitler in there, because even though the guy's, rotten to the core, I mean, he's one of the people that you can't get rid of because the impact was so intense. Not in a good way, obviously, but the level of influence that this dude had was enormous. Then comes energy. It's a good thing that people with similar levels of energy are attracted to one another, because when you pair a high energy person with a low energy person and ask them to work closely together, they can drive one another crazy. The high energy person thinks the low energy person is lazy, and the low energy person thinks the high energy one is insane. Giftedness. People do not go out looking for mediocre leaders to follow. People are attracted to talent and excellence, especially in their area of giftedness. They are most likely to respect and follow someone who possesses their kind of talent. And business people who want to follow bosses with skill in building organization and making a profit. Football players want to follow coaches with great football talent. Creative people want to follow leaders who are willing to think outside the box. Like attracts like. That may seem pretty obvious, yet I've met many leaders who expect highly talented people to just follow them. And even though they neither possess nor express value for those people's gifts. Leadership ability. Finally, the people that you attract will have leadership ability similar to your own. As I said in discussing the law of respect, people naturally follow leaders stronger than themselves, but you also have to factor in the law of magnetism, which states that who you are is who you attract. If you are a 7 when it comes to leadership, you are more likely to draw 5s and 6s to you than 2s and 3s. The leaders you attract will be similar in the style and ability to you. Living in leadership. Al McGuire, former head basketball coach of Marquette University, once said, "A team should be an extension of the coach's personality. My teams were arrogant and obnoxious. It's more than a matter of should be. Teams cannot help being an extension of their leader's personality." In 1996, I founded my nonprofit organization, Equip, which exists to train leaders internationally. Guess what kind of donors attracted to Equip? Leaders. Men and women who lead others and understand the value and impact that come from training leaders are continuously attracted to Equip. Equip, y'all. Equip. Going against the grain. As you read this chapter, you may find yourself in one of the two situations. You may be saying to yourself, I'm not crazy about the people I'm attracting. Am I stuck with my situation? The answer is no. And if you're dissatisfied with the leadership ability of the people that you're attracting, then embrace the law process and work to increase your leadership skill. If you want to grow an organization, grow the leader. If you find the people that you attract to be unreliable and untrustworthy, then examine your character. Developing stronger character can be a more difficult road, but the payoff is huge. Good character improves every aspect of a person's life. If you want to grow an organization, grow the leader. Big one right here. If you are attracting unreliable, untrustworthy people, then examine your character. Developing strong character can be more of a difficult road, but the payoff is huge. Good character improves every aspect of a person's life. And on the other hand, you may be saying, I like who I am and I like the kind of people that I attract. Well, that's great. Now take the time to take the next step in effective leadership. Work at recruiting people who are different from you to staff your weaknesses. And if you don't, important organizational tasks are likely to be overlooked, and the organization will suffer as a result. An organization will never be fulfilled if its potential of its potential if everyone in it is a visionary or if everyone is an accountant. Ooh. I love this one right here. It is possible for a leader to go out and recruit people unlike himself, but those are not the people he will naturally attract. Attracting people unlike yourself requires a high degree of intentionality, and to succeed at it, people must believe in you. The vision you share must be compelling, and you can learn more about that in the law of buy-in. History changes course. Once you understand the law of magnetism, you can see it at work in just about any kind of situation: business, government, sports, education, the military, and a lot more. As you read history, look for its clues. One of the most vivid examples of the law of magnetism is found in American history among the military leaders of the Civil War. When the Southern states ceded, there were questions about which side many of the generals would fight for, and Robert E. Lee was considered the best general in the nation. The president, Lincoln, actually offered him command of the Union Army, but Lee would never consider fighting against his native Virginia. He declined the offer and joined the Confederacy, and the best generals in the land followed him. If Lee had chosen to lead an army of the Union instead, many other good generals would have followed him north, and as a result, the war probably would have been much shorter. Some speculate that it might have lasted 2 years instead of 5, and hundreds of thousands of lives would have been saved. It just goes to show that the better leader you are, the better leaders that you will attract, and that has an incredible impact on everything that you do. So how do people that you are currently attracting to your organization, department look at you? Are they strong, capable, potential leaders you desire? Or could they be better? Remember, their qualities does not ultimately depend on a hiring process, a human resources department, or even what you consider to be the quality of your area's applicant pool. It depends on you. Who you are is who you attract. The law of magnetism. If you want to attract better people, become the kind of person that you desire to attract. Here's how you can apply the law of magnetism to your life. I'm just like, highlighting the whole entire thing. That was so strong. 1, if you skip the exercise of writing down the qualities that you desire in your followers, then do it now. Once you are finished or you have already completed it, think about why you desire the qualities you listed. And when you wrote them, did you think you were describing people like you or different from you? And if there is a disparity between your image and yourself and your employees, then your level of self-awareness may be low and it may be hindering your personal development. So talk to a trusted colleague or friend who knows you well to help you identify your blind spots. Number 2, based on who you are attracting, you may need to grow in the areas of character and leadership. Find mentors willing to be able to help you grow in each area. Good candidates as a character mentor could be a pastor or spiritual advisor, a professional whose ability you respect, or a professional coach. Ideally, your leadership mentor should work in the same or a similar profession and be several steps ahead of you in his or her career. Number 3, if you are already attracting the kind of people that you desire, then it's time to take your leadership to the next level. Work at staffing your weaknesses and recruiting people who will complement your leadership in the areas of skills. Write a list of your 5 greatest strengths. And when it comes to skills, then write your 5 greatest weaknesses. And now it's time to create a profile of who you are looking for. Start with the giftedness and then corresponds to your weaknesses. Add to the values and attitudes that are similar to yours, and also consider whether age, background, and education are factors. Will it help if they are different? And finally, look for someone who is potentially a good leader, or at the very least understands and appreciates how leadership works. Few things are more frustrating to a good leader than a partner with a bureaucratic mindset. I love it. I love it. I'm like, I'm taking it all in right now. This is so freaking good. The law of magnetism. As a person that is heavily in the recruiting process of like one of our businesses, like this speaks volumes, especially when you have to go through like hundreds of people to find your top 20, and then from those top 20, you find your top 3. And then from those top 3, you may end up with 0. So like it speaks volumes because like I want to include more of those like softer questions, the softer skills to be part of the interview process that I put in place, and also the training videos that I do. I'm sure that they can improve for sure, and like really establishing how we are as a company, who it is that we attract. But the exercise of, writing down who you desire is huge, because I personally did this to attract Vanessa, my partner in life, in business, and my forever, right? She is the love of my life. And I wrote down a list of things that I required from a person, from like literally the internal stuff, like the beliefs, the values, the family, the culture, a sense of adventure. But then I went into more of like the physical things. I wanted someone with blue eyes or green eyes, or I wanted someone that is about my same height. I wanted someone that is athletic. I wanted someone that, can shoot hoops with me, but then also be able to go to a conference room, and like in so many other stuff. And like literally Vanessa has everything, from like the color of her hair to like the tip of her toe. She is perfect. And I'm so grateful for that, because I remember writing that down, and it was in a moment in my life when, I was ready to take that next level with someone. I was really committed to only going for that. Like I wasn't paying attention to anything else. I wasn't interested in that anymore. I was solely focused on attracting my soulmate. So I developed myself as a person too. I had to get better at the way I was presenting myself, the way that I wanted to hold my promises to myself, so I can actually be the best version of myself for that person that I attract. And the beautiful thing is that Vanessa compliments me in so many different ways, not only in business, but in life. Like it's awesome, So like, if you haven't done the exercise, please do it. If you're already in a committed relationship that you're super happy in, awesome. You probably did the same thing, whether it's literally writing it down or you did it subconsciously. But I do believe in the law of magnetism in so many aspects. So I encourage you to do it. I know I'm going to redo it because we're entering the last quarter of the year, and it's like, you got to get your shit together. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's time to hit it. So I'm really, really excited for that. And as we grow our partnerships with, coaches, like established coaches from all over the world that have hit multi seven figures in their business, that's who we are looking to partner with our other company Ivy Leads, where we help business owners just scale their business significantly by using systems and leveraging their time with Dream Assistants. So like, it's everything, your business really, really depends on your awareness and your leadership ability. Don't overlook it. Please do it for the future generation. Do it for the past generation. Do it for the present generation. Do it for yourself. If you can't do it for yourself, do it for someone that you love and trust and respect. Sometimes we have to be, sometimes we do things for others and we don't do it for ourselves, but I'm so excited for the next chapter because it all flows together. The law of connection is next. And with everything that we covered in today's law of magnetism, it's just going to go up from here. I'm so excited for what's to come. The law of connection. I'll see you soon. I'll talk to you later. Make sure to check out Vanessa's amazing playlist. She is reading The Greatest Salesman, and it's an OG Mandino book. And if you don't know who OG Mandino, well, it's time for you to recognize one of the GOATs, one of the OGs in the business of personal development. Make sure to check out her playlist. It's amazing. She's been rocking it, and I'm so excited for all the blessings heading your way. Talk to you soon. Bye.